Most things add up in a straight line. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. You write one report, you have one report. The math is clean and the math is a trap. Sam Altman wrote an essay called How to Be Successful. It has 13 principles. 13 is too many. Most of them matter. 4 of them change the trajectory. Those 4 are what this video is about. Altman ran Y Combinator for 5 years. He backed Airbnb, Stripe, Dropbox, and Reddit before running OpenAI. The essay reads like a compression of patterns he saw across thousands of founders. It came out in 2019 and it holds up because the ideas underneath are structural. They don't expire. The first idea is compound growth. Altman opens with it and it carries more weight than the other 12 combined. He says most people think linearly. They optimize for a 10% raise or a slightly better job. The people who pull away are the ones who find careers, businesses, and skills where the output compounds, where year 5 builds on year 4 in a way that year 1 couldn't have predicted. He's specific about what makes something compound. It's not effort alone. It's effort plus leverage. Technology, brand, network effects, management. Something has to multiply the work. Without a multiplier, the math stays linear no matter how hard you push. The uncomfortable part of compounding is the early stretch. The first year of anything looks flat. The returns are tiny. The gap between you and someone with a steady paycheck feels embarrassing. Altman says the people who pull away are the ones willing to sit in that flat zone long enough for the curve to bend. The ones who can't tolerate it bail early and lock in linear returns for life. This connects to the second idea worth holding. You get rich by owning things. Altman is blunt about this. Nobody builds wealth through salary. Wealth comes from owning equity in a business, real estate, intellectual property, or some other asset that appreciates faster than your time depreciates. Salary is a straight trade, hours for dollars. The relationship caps out. Ownership doesn't. He says the way to get there is to make things people want at scale. Create something whose value grows independent of your hours. Code that runs while you sleep. Content that compounds while you eat dinner. A business where each new customer makes the product more valuable for the ones already there. This is the fork that most people see but don't take. The salary is reliable. The ownership path is volatile and slow at the start. Altman doesn't pretend otherwise. He says it plainly. You have to structure your life so that you can afford to take the ownership path. Which brings the third idea. Make it easy to take risks. Altman says the biggest reason people don't pursue ownership is that their cost of living is too high. Lifestyle inflation is a trap that looks like success. A bigger apartment, a nicer car, a more expensive city. Each upgrade raises the floor. Once the floor is high enough, risk becomes impossible. You can't bet on yourself when you need 6 figures to cover the monthly overhead. He talks about keeping your burn rate low enough that a failed bet doesn't end the game. The framing is asymmetric bets. Situations where the downside is small and recoverable, but the upside is enormous. If you structure your life so that a bad year doesn't wipe you out, you can take the swings that most people talk about but avoid. The math underneath is intuitive. If your expenses are low, a year of working on something uncertain costs you almost nothing. If your expenses are high, that same year costs you everything. The risk didn't change. The cost of taking it did. The fourth idea sits later in the essay, but it might be the most durable. Be hard to compete with. Altman says the best position is one where you're doing something at the intersection of multiple fields in a way that's specific to you. Relationships, brand, expertise in a niche combination. He says most people compete on the same axis as everyone else. Same credentials, same skills, same positioning. The ones who break out build a stack of capabilities that's hard to replicate because it's personal. He connects this to avoiding mimetic behavior, doing what others do because others are doing it. If your strategy looks like your competitor's strategy, you're in a race to the bottom. The way out is to build something specific enough that copying it requires being you. Your network, your taste, your particular combination of skills, those aren't transferable. Think about how these 4 ideas chain together. Compound growth is the engine. Ownership is the vehicle. Low risk tolerance is the fuel line. and being hard to compete with is the moat that protects the whole system. Miss one and the others weaken. Compounding without ownership caps your upside. Ownership without a moat invites competition. A moat without risk tolerance means you never build it in the first place. I've lived this sequence without naming it. My first job was at McDonald's, then tech support, then software engineer, then consultant. Each step felt like progress, but the leverage was linear. I traded hours for better hourly rates. The jump happened when I stopped trading time. Trends.vc started as a side project during a 3-year mini retirement. I kept my burn rate low enough that the mini retirement was possible in the first place. The reports compounded. Each one taught me a market, built an audience, and gave me material for the next one. 6 years later, the newsletter still runs. That's the compounding curve Altman describes. Flat for a long time, then it bends. The moat was personal. Other people publish research. Other people write newsletters. I built the haters section into each report. That was my way of arguing with my own points. It became the section people talked about. The format was copyable. The lens wasn't. With Multi, I'm running the same pattern at a different altitude. I built a tool that turns writing into video because I needed it. The first version was called skateboard.mjs. Post in, video out. Rough captions, stock footage that missed. The skateboard worked. Each week it compounds. Better matching, better pacing, better output. The ownership is mine. The risk was low because the tool was built for a problem I already had. And the moat is the intersection of writing, software, and media production that's specific to how I work. Altman's essay has 13 principles. The temptation is to treat them as a checklist. Do all 13, succeed. But success isn't additive, it's multiplicative. The 4 that matter most are the ones that multiply each other. Compounding without ownership is a hamster wheel. Ownership without risk tolerance is a fantasy. Risk tolerance without a moat means someone else captures the upside. Stack them and the math changes. The essay was written before the current AI moment, but the principles fit tighter now. AI is permissionless leverage. It compresses the time between idea and execution. A solo founder can compound faster. A single creator can own the entire stack. The cost of risk drops when the tools are cheap and the iterations are fast. Altman wrote about the trajectory without naming the catalyst. The catalyst arrived. You're already compounding something. Your skills, your network, your reputation. The question is whether you own what you're compounding or someone else does.